Waters. No Raylos, no Ray Nobodies, no Black Pills, no anti-Star Wars pro-sequel trilogy shills. We are here for the love of Star Wars, and that is what we're gonna do. Anyway, I don't know how long this will go on. I think my husband's he's washing the deck, and God knows how loud that's gonna be. So we'll just have to see how long this goes. Anyway, want to talk a little bit about, hey, just some other guy. I knew you'd be here. Thank you. Kennedy's Gambit. What she thought she could accomplish at Star Wars Celebration, and the only reason why I even wanted to go live is because I'm antsy. I want some news. I want to hear, hey Cross, I'm literally like this. I need news. I need to know what's going on. Okay, so this is just me being kind of impatient and just throwing shit out there to talk about. If we run with the premise that she was told this is going to be her celebration, here are the press packets. All right, this is your goodbye party, and instead she went totally against what Iger told her to do, and announced 3 movies, 2 of which will never be made. And I know, but I'm not a patient person. You would hate to work for me, okay? You just would. So let's go back to what I was saying. We go back to our theory that she announced 3 movies, 2 of which will never be made, talked about The Acolyte, had her friend and partner in crime, literally, crying crocodile tears about how much she loves Star Wars and how it saved her. Well, it's not have anything else to do. She doesn't have anything else in the hopper. Obviously, Leslie Headland kind of got chased off the set of Russian Doll. And, no one, I don't think people want this woman to work in Hollywood with them. And The Acolyte's all she's got. And she's banking on something. All right, Cameron. She's banking on something to basically revive her career. Because, look, go and look at Leslie Headland's IMDb profile. She's got nothing. Nothing but this. That's it. She has nothing else in the hopper. And she's desperate right now. Now, I want to talk a little bit about this because I think it's very interesting. If you look at I have a theory of why Karen McCarthy was removed as line producer for The Acolyte, and the reason is they didn't get the green light. If you look at, I know some things I'm not going to repeat, but Karen McCarthy, when she was let go, what I think happened was Kennedy came back from talking to talking to Chapek and Alan Bergman, and they're like, you're not making this. We're not doing this TV show. Now that woman, not for any reason under the sun are we touching this. And Kennedy came back and said, we can't, we're not getting the green light. I don't know how we're going to do this. I really want to do this. And, well, they couldn't afford Karen McCarthy. They couldn't necessarily pay her what she was owed. They didn't have the money. Okay. Which is why, look, when you've got a contract, you've got everything, you've got all the paperwork. And someone says to you, I've never heard of you, which is, if you look at what she said in all the publications I've talked about this, basically that's what Lucasfilm did to her. Now, go back further. All right, go. No, no, don't do that. Now, she had paperwork, so they had to admit, yeah, well, we did send her the Bible, and all this stuff that we sent her had been memorialized by her lawyer. So they're pretty stuck. But considering that they did not have the money that she requested to pay her, and I'm sure, I haven't seen it, but I'm sure she expected $1 million for one season. Okay, I'm gonna say that. Okay, hey Parabellum. No, I didn't, and I'm not talking about that yet. Let me finish what I'm saying. Uh, they didn't have that money. They didn't have the money to pay her back, to you know, you know, basically settle up with her, and the, they did not dare send that contract to Disney corporate. Disney corporate had no idea, I think, in my mind, that this had even happened. Okay, Kennedy again jumped at the gun. All right, just like she did at Celebration, and they didn't have a choice. They had to give McCarthy something. They gave her what they could afford. Okay, again, I think because of the weird way it's filming, and the stuff we've heard. Oh, we're in the middle of filming episode 4. Well, 2 months ago, you were filming episode 3. How long does it take to film an episode? 2 months at a time? Are they as long as movies? I mean, that's the thing that stands out to me too. It's like the timeline that they've set out for this thing that themselves says something isn't going the right way. The lawyer, Robert Allen, said to Cameron, none of this makes sense. This is not what Disney does. And it's because it's not Disney. It is a half-assed thing that these two idiot bimbos are trying to do because they're desperate for something. Okay, one's desperate because she's afraid for her career. The other one wants to add more to her legacy. Hey, Matt Piranha, stick it to the man and fuck up Star Wars even more. Look, let's look at it like this. Kennedy walks out on the stage to silence. She barely raises her hand. I've got the video, I've used it. She's got Jon Favreau seething. She was not supposed to be doing any of this stuff, and she did it. Why? Again, this is going to be the mantra I want you all to bombard everybody with. I know, it's just let it go, okay? She knows that people hate her. The fans hate her guts. She knows no one wants a Rey movie. I mean, Daisy didn't get any applause either. Okay, let's put that bluntly. Disney has the numbers to back up that Rey is not a bankable character. People hate her. And Kennedy knows that a Rey, even talking about a Rey movie with Daisy sitting there, with Daisy standing there like a dumbass, would torpedo the franchise. Okay, look. Kennedy wants to ruin everything on the way out the door. This is scorched earth. If you remember the rumor that she said, that Doomcock reported, if I don't get my way, I'm going to burn everything down. Okay. This is what she's trying to do. Okay. And it doesn't help that YouTubers who hate her are helping her now. Okay. Which, look, and I'm not calling out anybody in specific, but we need to start looking at this, at everything she said with a very cynical eye. Why are you doing this now? When, Kyle Ron's helmet disappears from the Mandalorian. She's trying to kill the Mandalorian. She's trying to make it so nobody watches it. Now, I saw a story yesterday where 20 viewing went up 25% on Mando. Okay, so hopefully it'll go up further. Okay, and I also think Ahsoka helped it. Okay, and Grand Admiral Thrawn, the little blip that we've got of Lars Mikkelsen as Thrawn is just staggeringly cool. Okay, so but she's trying desperately to kill Star Wars and Lucasfilm on the way out the door. Okay, because she didn't get her way. Nobody likes what she wants. Fuck you. I'm going to destroy everything. And that, look, I am a woman. I know how my sex thinks. And women like her are vindictive. They're nasty. They're backbiting. And they're evil. And they're not that smart. Okay, they really aren't. And her defiance, in my opinion, probably settled her fate. Okay, not that we've heard anything today, or in the last week, except that Iger wants any communications between May and September of last year that concern Headland or Kennedy. He wants that audited. Okay, I mean, that was the timeline that she supposedly, Headland, pulled permits to film in England. Okay, and now we've got, I look at the Scheinfeld Studios and I'm like, how much does that cost? Who is paying for that? Because I don't see Disney coughing up the millions to rent those sound stages that they're using. What I think is Kennedy probably piggybacked on Andor, and they've used time that Andor has been filming. Okay. I think so, Parabellum. And, you can't, when I looked at pictures of him and just what little I saw of him at Celebration, when he was away from her, he seemed happier and more content. Being with her, it was like he wanted to pick her up and throw her off the stage, like I would have. She literally, and look, again, I never thought she was aware of how much people hated her, but her walking out to absolute crickets, all right, and seeing Daisy walk out to almost crickets, had to tell her, no one wants this shit. The fans are not going to buy it. They're not going to go put their asses in seats. You have done way more than you had to destroy this franchise. And even mentioning a fucking Ray movie, it bulldozes anything the boys are trying to fix, anything they're trying to do. And it really, the heart of the matter is, we were talking about this, I can't remember where, maybe even on Kamran's Patreon, but I think she's crazy. I honestly think she's mentally ill. Now, I'm going to say this. A lot of women in her position, and I've known some, are addicted to going to psychiatrists and never getting better. Okay? It's not like they go for a year and are able to handle life. All right? She has never, in my opinion, done anything on her own. And when she finally did, she fucked everything up because she can't, look, she was in over her head, okay? In over her head. And as a producer, she always had Steven Spielberg, George Lucas, Frank Marshall, etc., basically running the show, and she was just there, piggybacking on, okay? That's what she did, and I know it galls her that people notice now. I mean, look, Matt Bellany is very snarky about her. He's very sarcastic in talking about her. You can't sit there and think that all of Hollywood still buys the most powerful woman in Hollywood shit. Not after this. You can sit there and say Lucasfilm broke even if you use gross profit, all right, or more than broke even if you use gross profit. But when you net, which is actually real money, no, it didn't. It is in the red, and it's all because of her bullshit, her not standing up for George, her not her inability to set aside the fact that she's a whammon and believes all the bullshit about not having enough women in Star Wars. Okay. Ruining Leia. I mean, the most iconic feminist character in film history. And what the fuck? You know what? Why did you do that? No, what karate stick, what I'm saying is, all right, I'm going to give you an analogy. You get your first paycheck. You got $1,500 gross pay. But when you look at what you're getting, you get 1,000. All right, why? That's what you net. That's your net pay. That's what you get to take home. Now, why? Here's why. You've got taxes. You've got health insurance that the company has, but you pay for. Okay. You've got Social Security tax, SSI, and all the rest of this shit. Okay, and state tax, and you've got federal income tax, and everything else. And by the time all those fees and taxes are taken out, you don't get what you grossed. You get what you net, and that is $1,000 out of 1,500. Now, if you look at making a movie, let's say The Force Awakens. There were reshoots, so let's say $300 million, maybe $350 million. Then you have half of that for marketing, so $525 million. That's what you put into that movie. It makes $2 billion, over $2 billion. And after you take away producing, marketing, and what the exhibitors get, 30% here in the United States, and between 20 and 60% or more in China, and the rest of the world, you probably made $700 million, maybe a little less. Okay, all right. So you netted from your actual investment about $200 million, right? Is that good? All right, enough to make The Last Jedi, which made about $1.3 billion. That movie may have made $500 million. And then we got Solo, a Star Wars story, which lost $250 million. So that's money that's gone. So you have to take that out of what you net from the other stuff. You go on to The Rise of Skywalker. So say they only did 40% reshoots, and they were shooting right up until 2 weeks before the movie came out, right? All right, that movie barely crossed the line of $1 billion. The movie did not make money. That movie probably lost money. So I am going to put on my lack of mathematical cap and my lack of financial training, but common sense. They probably net for Disney about maybe $1 billion. All right, then you add licensing fees. All right, maybe another $1 billion. But then you add this. Disney bought Lucasfilm for what? $4.3 billion. Then they invested maybe another $7 billion. $6 billion into the parks, into making the movies. And if they only made $2 billion net, they've lost money for Disney. And that's There you go. You can blame the parks on her. She marches into Iger's office and says, "We have more movies ahead of us than behind us, so why don't we just explore the sequel trilogy?" That went over like a fart in church, didn't it? You know? So when you look at all that and you're like, okay, if that's the case, why is she still there? Now, secret squirrels, blackmail stuff, the fact that she probably, maybe threatened, she did threaten to burn the whole thing down on the way out the door if they fired her. But I don't, I think that her, what I think the weak part is, and I think a lot of people miss it, the lawsuit and the acolyte, when sunshine finally hits it, we're going to wake up to a whole new day. Okay. And if Iger can get his hands on communiques, now look, again, this is from Sparrow, and you don't have to believe it. But if you don't, I question your judgment, your sanity, and your intellect. Okay. Sparrow basically said Iger wants the communiques audited between May and September of last year concerning Kennedy and Headland. Okay. That automatically tells me they told her it wasn't going to happen. They went ahead with was a plan to do sizzle reels so Headland could show the powers that be that what they were doing, and they just decided to say they had a show, maybe to blackmail Iger and Chapek at the time into letting them make the show, and Chapek would not have changed his view. Okay. The stuff that Iger's talking about slowing content down and reining in these big studios, Lucasfilm and Marvel, isn't that all right? It isn't that they don't want the content for Disney Plus. The problem is the content that's being created is trash. And I think that decision was made a long time before Bob Iger came back. Okay, Bob Iger's merely doing what Bob Chapek was doing, telling them, no, you don't get to make your woke piece of shit show. Okay, now, do I agree that Star Wars will survive the Acolyte? Yes, but I don't think the Acolyte's ever going to see the light of day. And I'm going to say this. The reason why Kennedy had Headland there is to A, force the issue, and to B, set fire to the place on the way out. Because look at our community. Look at our community. Star Wars is dead. I want to burn Disney down. Ugh. So you want to see 78,000 people without work? Really? Really? A venerable American brand gone because you're personally upset by something? Look, the fandom has a problem with all this being about them. Now, do I think Kennedy knows about us? Yes. Do I think she's using some YouTube channels to attack and discredit people? Yes, I do. And do I think that that has merit? You bet your sweet bippy I do. Okay, look, I don't think she's smart enough to do any of this on her own. I think she's used Pablo Hidalgo before to cause trouble with the fans. She's let him do whatever he wants. He's Kathy's little stooge. But I think that, and I hate to say this, but I think her husband's been involved too. Of course, Cross. I really do. I think they're trying to save her golden parachute. This $30 million, we've been told. All right. Now, I look at this and say, just fire her. Fire her ass. They have money. You've seen pictures of their home. The picture of her with all the sluts she's got. Rain Roberts and Candace Campo and all the rest of that garbage from Vanity Fair, propped up against the picture window. There's the Pacific in the background. That's Malibu. Okay, I mean, I wouldn't doubt she's neighbors to Barbara Streisand. Okay, so I looked at that and go, you know, they got money. Okay, but this is coming down to money. And what I would this is what I would do if I was Iger. And somebody jump in and tell me I'm stupid for saying this, but if I was Iger, I would show her video of her walking out to silence. Show Daisy walking out to silence. So the way people were John reacted to the Acolyte and say, I never greenlit the Acolyte. We don't have a script for this so-called movie. You just dumped on everybody. The previous writer and showrunner was told wasn't going to happen. The reaction to your ideas was not good. It's not mixed. It's bad. Okay. Daisy's a good kid, but she'll never play in a Star Wars movie again. This is not your franchise. This is not your studio. It belongs to the Walt Disney Company. And you went against everything I said to do. Here's $40 million. Get the fuck out of my office. Grab your shit and go. Okay? I would give her more money than she bargained for to leave now. I would say, look, you'll get accolades when Indy 5 drops. You can go to Cannes and get feted, but I want you to announce your retirement. All right? I want you out of here. And having to buy your ass out is a small price to pay for what the fuck you've done to this franchise. Okay? And the lies you told and the way you manipulated people in the beginning. Okay? Because that's how she got where she got. I think we have more movies ahead of us than behind us. All right. That's what she did. Okay. And she fucked up the parks. Who passes and greenlights a fucking movie on the first draft? Who does that? The only human being on the planet that I've ever heard of, that's Kathy Kennedy. She does that. Okay. Who hires a balding discount hobbit to play Han Solo? Kathy Kennedy. Why? I'll Steven. You know, if a housewife from Carlisle, Pennsylvania can figure this shit out, Bob Iger can. So my thing is this: what do we need to do to get him to move on this? I don't want to wait anymore. Okay, this is me being impatient. I don't want to hear, oh, she's doing this and that, she's freaking out. I want to open up my mail. I want to see THR saying, breaking news, Kathleen Kennedy announces her resignation from Lucasfilm, effective immediately. Okay. No word, nothing but a heartfelt goodbye from her and all the rest of the stuff. Sorry guys, I gotta go. Okay. And then we can speculate on what they did to get her out of there, which is a hell of a lot more fun than sitting there watching her set fire to the franchise we love, the studio we love, and there you go. Okay. I don't think it's worth humiliating her. I think she's done that on her own. And honestly, I have to say that basically bribing her to leave, once that gets out, and it will, she had a $40 million payout to get the fuck out. I mean, Bob Chapek's like, I only got 30. What? I would rather see her get a payout like that and have people know that she was asked to resign, to leave, and to retire with $40 million than having the fans sit there arguing about fucking Ray movies that'll never happen. I mean, look, it's a great way to make clicks. I guarantee. I gotta say, Star Wars Theory's doing that, and I'm like, I wouldn't hold my breath to see this movie made. Okay, don't hold your breath, because the guy standing there is never going to ever tell Iger to greenlight any shit like that. Okay, he's not, and she knows that. I mean, look. Matt Bellany last year announced on his, I think on Puck, that Favreau and Filoni basically had not only the streaming shows, but the films. So she's been trying to elbow her way back in, pretending she's the boss since then. Okay, and she's got the Phantom Menace and the other channels helping her and making money off of this bullshit. Iger is very vindictive, but I think it's time to put that to rest and get her fucking out of there. Look, imagine we wake up and realize it was announced during the night she was fired. Or I would probably be laying there and get a text from somebody saying, oh my God, she's fired. They fired her. Here's the deadline. Sparrow, blah, blah, blah. Imagine the change in attitude. Okay, because the moment that happens, that movie, the Ray movie's dead, and the Acolyte is gone. Okay, that you just look at that and write it off. Okay, and if there's going to be a casualty in this, it'd be Leslie Headland. Okay, Kennedy's reputation is gone anyway. Okay, she is not. I mean, when you've got Matt Bellany this weekend, I know. What I want them to do is give her money. It was like 30 million. 25 to 30 million. I think you renege on that deal, give her 40 million in cash, and get her the fuck out. Okay? That's what I would do. I would say, look, this bitch won't leave. I don't know. People theorize that that's why she's been around. I think right now Iger doesn't want her to go Victoria Alonso on him. But you haven't heard from Alonso since she had that verbal freak out. And look, Kennedy is in deep trouble with the lawsuit. Okay, so I think 40 million is a paltry sum to get her out. I really do. And that's a number I just picked out of the sky. I don't, I sit here and go, when you get into a situation where things are just not moving the way they should, you start wondering, what could they do to get this thing to go ahead and remove the obstacle? I mean, Kathleen Kennedy and her flying monkeys are a pimple on the ass of progress. They really are. That was a phrase my dad used to use, and I do love it. Does he go Augusto Pinochet on her? Does he? Or does he realize she shot her wad? She knows none of that stuff is ever going to happen. And does he show her how bad she looked at Celebration and how stupid Leslie Headland looked and how dumb it was to have Daisy showed up with that, oh God, her haircut. The fuck did she do to her hair? Yeah, she would have to sign an NDA that's ironclad. And then she would go on to, I mean, if you look at the other things that she's got in development, Yeah, it is. It is. Or you know, a pimple on the ass of progress, or that guy's a boil on the ass of humanity. That would be Ryan Johnson. But I think paying her off, getting her to sign an ironclad NDA to leave is a paltry sum. And I gotta tell you something. I think her husband, Frank Marshall, would say, 40 million? What are we doing saying no to that? You know? I mean, what are we doing saying no to that? Okay. So, there you go. I don't really know how else to say it. But if it's obvious to a housewife in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, that Star Wars Celebration was the Kathy Kennedy fuck you all. Fuck you to the fans. Fuck you to Bob Iger. Fuck you to John and Dave. Fuck you to George Lucas. Indirectly, I'm going to burn the franchise down. You get her the fuck out of there. All right? And if she can't understand that no one wants her around, or if she can't accept the fact that she got the silent treatment, that people hate her guts, and the picture I have as a thumbnail, that is resting bitch face. That is, looking at the look on her face was like looking at someone who was so angry and outraged that, it you could feel it through the picture, how pissed off she was. Okay, she was pissed off because she again was shown the fans hate her guts. They had her do this, they had Star Wars Celebration London, and she still got the silent treatment. Now, if they'd had it in Anaheim or Chicago or New York City, whatever, she'd have been booed, outright booed. All right, maybe I'd have been there. Maybe I would have been there with some friends, and I would have been going, you know. I mean, who knows? But I gotta say this, right? It's going to be very interesting watching as we get towards summer. And again, sitting here waiting for the layoffs to happen. Bob Iger promised they would be now, you know, well, we'll see. I mean, we have to wait until, if we have to wait till Indy 5 is drops, then so be it. Okay. You know, look, despite what people think, she's done. Okay, the sequel trilogy is done. I don't care if Hux's daddy showed up. I don't care if they had guys in red Beskar armor that were nothing like the Praetorians in TLJ at all show up. I don't care what sort of disconnected from reality, unable to comprehend what you're looking at, moronic thing black pills have been saying they saw. Fact of the matter is, Kyle Ron's mask is not in the intro. All right, mask is not in the intro, and I don't think Grand Admiral Thrawn can fit in the same timeline as Snoke, or a rejuvenated clone Emperor Palpatine. I mean, that's just stupid. Okay, so you could sit there and argue with me all you want, but your arguments are illogical. Okay, and look, cognitive dissonance is going to cause people to see things they want to see, but other people who our objective in watching things will not see the same thing because it's not there. Okay, it's not there. Anyway, I gotta go. We're about ready to go do some stuff, and I got the wine tasting to get ready for. So, in about an hour. So here's Kojak. Hi, Koji Bear. So I gotta rock, and you guys all behave, be safe, and I'll see you around the galaxy.